Debate on debate number 2, the land bill war, because my time for the first debate went far beyond what I expected. So my sincerest apologies to Lord Meghnad Desai, Brajesh Kalappa of the Congress, Seshadri Chari of the BJP and Devinder Sharma, food policy analyst. I'd like to begin with Meghnad Desai. Meghnad Desai, good evening. And I hope that you can hear me there. My question to you, who's the bigger hypocrite in this case? The Congress party for its present position, critical of the government's land bill, or the BJP for changing its position, what it had said earlier? Lord Desai.
I think there is a mythology being perpetuated in Parliament that farmers are poor, and that in order to protect poor farmers, all development has to be stopped. Now, the Land Acquisition Act that the Congress passed, which BJP, I don't know why, but they supported, was very, very difficult for businessmen to do business with. Now, at last, the BJP has amended it, and I hope the BJP sticks to its guns and doesn't fall for the blackmail that somehow they're anti-poor.
What's the blackmail? Who's doing the blackmail?
The blackmail is that they're being anti-poor. Only development will get poverty out of this country, and if you follow the old Land Acquisition Act that the Congress passed, development will not happen.
No, but you call it blackmail.
They have to grasp that, not worry about being told they're anti-poor. Don't worry about the blackmail of being anti-poor.
You call it blackmail. Okay, fine. You call it blackmail. Before I go to Seshadri Chari, because you're taking a pro-BJP position, I want to get Devinder Sharma's views on this. Devinder Sharma, is it really blackmail by the Congress party? Because Ravi Shankar Prasad used to take a different position when they were in the opposition. Then they used to say land allotted for industry will be misused for real estate. I have the records of the debates with me. Chandan Mitra in the Rajya Sabha actually gave examples of National Highway number 3 built on farmers' land and then being given to some private mall, residential complexes and cinema halls. The question is, today the BJP took a totally different position on this issue, Devinder Sharma, when they were in the opposition. So my same question to you, who's more hypocritical tonight, the Congress or the BJP?
Well, I think we are not surprised by the stand taken by BJP. Or the Congress earlier, whatever you would say, who is hypocritical. But I think what is more important for this to realize that how dangerous or disastrous this bill will be for the country as such. You know, this argument that you're going to stop industry and so agriculture can be sacrificed for the sake of industry, I think it has gone on because the World Bank had told us back in 1996, Arnav, that 40 crore people should be moved out of the rural areas into the urban areas by the year 2015. Now, I thought it was a warning, but actually they were telling us that you must do. In 2008 World Development Report, they have said very clearly that you haven't done your job. So go in for land rentals, move these people out. This is a very important resource which is in the hand of inefficient people. They should be moved out. And I think the governments, successive governments are actually trying to follow that model of growth, quote unquote, and sacrificing the livelihoods of millions of people. Now, let me ask you one question. Arnav, you'll recall in 2006 when the Special Economic Zone Act came into place, the same people who are opposing, the 2013 bill are the ones who said, oh, this will bring about a revolution. We will have industrial growth. We will have manufacturing growth. We will have job creation. We will have exports. Now, look at 7 years later, 45,000 hectares or 1.25 lakh acres given to the industry under Special Economic Zone. Where are the exports? Where are the job creations? CAG tells us that it's a scandal.
No,
which
the
has
government
not been
will say that's because of overall system. No, the government's argument will be that because overall climate of policy paralysis existed under the Monsoon government. They will say that this won't happen under the BJP. But I want to ask Seshadri Chari. No, 1 second. Because Seshadri Chari, Devinder Sharma has taken a very clear position. He is accusing your government of selling out to a World Bank sponsored conspiracy to force people out of rural areas and resettle them. That's a straightforward accusation that he made at you. So, Mr. Seshadri Chari, would you like to respond to that?
The fact is, nearly 15% of the population depends on agriculture in this country. And where is the revenue from the agriculture to support the 60% of the population of this country? Agriculture's contribution is only 50%.
So?
15. So what is important is we will have to empower even those farmers. There are lands where even one crop is difficult. And in that kind of a situation, you need jobs, you need colleges, you need hospitals, you need so many other facilities also. The earlier bill had included about 13 items and we have added 5 more items, like for example the PPP projects.
No, but
where
tell me one thing. Mr. Chari, please tell me one thing. Mr. Chari, tell me one thing and I'll get Brajesh Kalappa and I've got the audio with him. I don't understand how you say we will go to the farmer for consultations after passing the ordinance. You pass an ordinance in which you take away his right to consent. When his right to consent to give away his land is taken away from him, as I said on my program yesterday, if the farmer is given 50 paise per acre also, he really has no way in which he can, object to it, reasonably beyond the point. And now you say after passing the ordinance, you will go and consult with him. I don't understand the logic. Doesn't make sense.
As far as the compensation part of it is concerned, it is 4 times the market price which has been fixed. Exactly. Whereas even as far back as June 2014, the Maharashtra government reduced it from 4% to 2.2%.
Now, no state government can do it. How come you didn't agree to this? How come you didn't agree to this in 2013? Because Rajnath Singh stood up for farmers and said that he's against cultivable land being taken from the farmer without consent. Today, our ordinance...
What we had said even then was, don't even go to cultivable lands. When you say a land is not cultivable, first try to see that that land can be cultivated by adding it into the irrigation list.
No, sir.
Even this was there as part of the discussion in Parliament.
Sir,
but what we sincerely felt was that if this bill is being passed, even though if it is a flawed bill, even then, if it is passed, we will support the Congress party in that endeavor, but impress upon the Congress party to do the necessary changes as and when investments come. But in the meantime, there was an election and the Congress party is out. Since we can make these corrections, if the Congress party has got some genuine corrections to be made in this, they are all most welcome. They can suggest such changes and let us look forward.
I don't understand how you choose to bring in changes stealthily without consulting anyone via an ordinance.
Why stealthily? Ordinance is not stealth. The whole world knows the ordinance. The President of India has signed it. But it is not a stealth.
Yeah, but answer on the moot point. You see, I'll get Brajesh Kalappa on. I'm not convinced with what you're saying actually. Devinder Sharma, we want to come back. But before that, Brajesh Kalappa, my question actually remains to the BJP that your party fully understood earlier that farmland can be misused, farmer rights can be taken away, total consent of farmers is essential. Why haven't you defined the parameters under which exempt of consent is proposed so that there is no scope for exploiting the farmer? My only point today is great idea. You want to lift the economy, but I want to know why you are leaving the farmer in a helpless situation. Because you're betraying the farmer. Then you took a totally different position when you were in power vis-a-vis farmers. Now you are giving some economic statistics. Basically what you're saying, farmers are poor, right? A lot of farmers don't contribute. A lot of the countries is with the farmers. The land is under the farmers. They are not productive. We will make them productive assets, move them to the cities, and hence there is a legitimate reason to take away their land. This basically is a very anti-people kind of position. And you say, therefore, it becomes a debate about whether you want development or not. Development, yes, but at what cost? I'd like Brajesh Kalappa to come back to the debate. Brajesh Kalappa. Brajesh Kalappa, please.
Arnav. I really appreciate what you said, and insofar as Mr. Seshadri Chari is saying that farmers don't contribute to the economy and their contribution is very little, I think it's a little insensitive. I don't know how a political party could take such a stand. The fact is that, farmers are living within their means and they're doing a good job. This is a far cry from the original slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. This is, going to the other extreme and saying Mar Kisan. So this is, I think, something which is deeply reprehensible. But having said that, Arnab, we must also be very conscious of the fact that there's nothing called a Land Acquisition Act anywhere in the West. Nowhere in the West is there anything called land acquisition. So this Land Acquisition Act is something which came along with us with a colonial baggage. And
Meghnad Desai,
one correction I want to make. I want to inform my esteemed colleague in the Congress party. What I said was, the total contribution of agriculture is 15%. The farmers are doing their best. There is nothing about it. In spite of the absolutely adverse situation and circumstances that they are facing, they are doing their best. But in spite of that, they have to depend. Although 60% of the country depends on agriculture, the farm income is so less because of lack of investment for the last so many years. We have not done anything
you tell
to
me
improve
once
the farm.
earlier. No, you tell me once earlier.
What we will have to do is
increase irrigation,
we will have to bring.
The only reason you don't have remunerative farming is because there is no irrigation. Now, where does your government stand in regard to irrigation? Why don't you provide more irrigation? Why don't you provide water to the farmers? Because if
Listen, Kalapa, you have made your point. You have made your point. We are running short on time. You have made your point. It was NDA government which brought in the idea of interlinking of river basins.
They are going to be in great difficulty.
We had brought in that idea. The whole idea of interlinking of river water basin was brought up in 2004. In 2004, when UPA government came, the UPA government came. The first thing they did was pack that issue and put it into the cold box. Now we will revive it. Your idea is very good. Your suggestion is good.
One second. Meghnad Desai used the word blackmail. Meghnad Desai used the word blackmail. Mr. Meghnad Desai, now the Congress representative can hear you. Would you like to tell him why you think he's indulging in empty blackmail? Those strong words were yours. I'd like you to say this to him straight so that he gets a chance to respond. Meghnad Desai.
Well, I want to explain in more detail what Mr. Seshadri was saying. Productivity per worker in agriculture is 1/10 of productivity per worker in services. So as long as we have 50% of the population in the rural areas, poverty will persist. You know, I mean, this is happening in every country in the world, and we're not going to write a new economics. So the best policy would be to have the most efficient farms stay on, give them more resources, and move people to factories or other workshops so they can get higher income.
This appears to be...
in agriculture, you only get seasonal employment. In my factory, you get year-round employment. If you want poverty to go, you've got to reduce the number of people subsisting on agriculture.
You can't force
That's happening in every country in the world, and I don't know why we think we can't. We are an exception to that.
Well, who is forcing them? No, who is forcing them? There is no question of force.
So there are 4 items.
The 5 items. The 5 items that have been introduced.
Lord Desai is perfectly right. I don't know why you think his position is different from mine. Lord Desai is perfectly right. I don't know why you think his position is different from mine.
Rural electrification, for example. You need land for rural electrification.
The point is
we have just added it into the
inversing of the ratio of population dependent on agriculture cannot happen overnight. This can't happen overnight. This has to happen over a period of time.
Arnab, can I come in?
No, my point is, Mr. Meghnad Desai, simple point to you is your argument doesn't work because A, there is nothing to prove that our manufacturing is up, that our economy is really on the upswing, that our employment rates in cities are going to go up. What you're saying today is that a lot of money will be paid, or legitimate amount of money will be paid to people if they give up their land. And what will they do after that? Will you create job opportunities for them? Is there a guarantee of how long it will take? So in the short term, you admit it will help the big business class. It will help what you think are the investors and industry. But the big benefit, but the big loser in the short term will be the farmer. And this argument will be that you're not productive enough is a very dangerous argument. You realize overnight the farmer is not productive enough, so you make him dispensable.
Arnav, try to understand. Arnav, try to understand the whole issue. Try to understand the whole issue. It is not as if we are converting this whole country into an industry. We are not doing that. What is more important is, instead of making the rural area depend on urban areas, we are carrying forward these infrastructure like low housing, schools, colleges, hospitals, even electrification of rural areas.
Sir, you tell me.
We are carrying it to the villages.
Sir, I'll tell you one example.
Why should the state be involved in providing low housing?
State.
No, what's it? Devinder Gupta.
The state.
Why doesn't the colonizer go and take this effort? There is no problem in it going and taking the effort. Why should the state get involved in this process?
all states
The Land
have to be
Acquisition
involved.
Act is only about the states. It's not about the colonizer. If the colonizer wants to do it, he is welcome to do it.
My question
Even
to
today,
the BJP
a builder can go and buy his own land. Will the Land Acquisition Act come in the way? I'm surprised you are taking such a stand, sir.
Mr. Kallappa, except the union territories, the central government, the government of India does not own land anywhere else except the union territory. They are the only lands. If I want to tomorrow acquire land in Karnataka, I cannot do that. Central government cannot.
You are saying today, you are saying, Mr.
Seshadri Chari, I'm telling you, we are very clearly said.
Central government.
Okay, watch it. Mr. Chari, I have a question.
32 states
Mr. Chari,
and all
even you and
union
Meghnad Desai will agree.
Came to Delhi in June 2014.
Sir, even you and Meghnad Desai will agree. Not far from our studios where you are right now, right in Greater Noida and in Gurgaon, you will find acres, hundreds of acres of land which was taken away for an industrial purpose and then changed for a real estate purpose. You don't have to go far from where you are. In our country, I don't know today how overnight you are so sure. And I would like to please tell you this, that this point which I am making was made in the Rajya Sabha by the present Union Minister for Law, Ravi Shankar Prasad, when he spoke in the Rajya Sabha in September 2013. Real estate sharks take away land saying industrial purpose and then build apartment blocks on that. Now, my question is, how are you so confident today that suddenly the mindset of the people will change? That they will become more sensitive and more responsible? I want Devinder Gupta to come in for a minute.
Read the ordinance. I'll answer this question and then you can go to Meghnad Desai ji. The question is, the land which has been acquired for these purposes, the 13 purposes earmarked in the earlier bill and the 5 purposes that are being added, and that too in the PPP model, there are two very important things. One, listen, the land use after acquisition, the land use cannot be changed. Number one. Number two, the most important element here is the ownership of the land will rest with the government.
Sir, I am not
government.
Mr. Chari.
It will not go into the hands of builders.
Mr. Chari, all I am, please understand, I am actually questioning the moot point of your argument today. Your moot argument. And Devinder Gupta, I'd like to give me your moot argument, your basic. What is your argument today? Development versus keeping the country poor was the argument used by Mr. Jaitley. My point is that you made the same argument but in a totally different way earlier. Earlier, your party used to say कि development या आर्थिक विकास के नाम पर आप ये भूमि अधिकरण नहीं कर सकते. Today, your whole argument in parliament is in the name of development, we have to. You need development, you have to. Then you used to say, don't make development the excuse.
In the name of development, don't give all that land to one gentleman who incidentally happens to be the son-in-law of the president of the Congress party. Don't give all the land to one person and that too allow him to change the land.
Rajesh Kalappa.
And then construct housing. No, don't do that.
I agree.
Now these five items which have been included.
Okay, Brajesh Kalappa.
Nothing to do with private builders.
No. Watch. I want before you come in, Brajesh. Actually, Devinder Gupta has been waiting. Yeah, Devinder Gupta. I'll let you rebut, Brajesh. But I'd like Devinder Gupta.
Just one moment, Arnab.
Sir, whenever I mentioned Robert Vadra, you jump into the issue.
In a district called Bhuj, in Gujarat, there is a huge tract of land, nearly 50,000 square kilometers of land, which is given to a particular gentleman by the name of Mr. Adani. What is the value of the land given? From 8 rupees to 33 rupees per square meter. And that same land is passed on between 800 rupees to 10,000 rupees to different persons by Mr. Adani. And Mr. Chari wants now to speak about Mr. Vadra. Where is the one issue where land has been acquired by the government and given to Mr. Vadra? Let him give one instance and I will
so your argument today is your argument today, Brajesh Kalappa, I understand your argument. I understand your argument and I would like to put it in a compressed form. Your argument today is, Brajesh, Mr. Kalappa, please.
About Mr. Vadra,
Mr. Kalappa, please.
Gujarat.
Idiotic comment.
Please visit Gujarat.
No, don't use
it. Where is the state being involved in Mr. Vadra's
development that has taken place in an arid
where the government has acquired and given to Mr. Vadra?
Development See the development that has taken place. See the development that has taken place in an arid land. Similar land was given over by when the Congress government was there to Reliance Industries. See what the kind of improvement they have made in that land. See the kind of improvements that these people have made. Therefore, making use of land, making use of optimum use of the land has to be permitted, and if there is a law which does not permit it, you have to amend the law. Not only that, if there are genuine objections, I think the law provides for so many other facilities. This is your own law. The Congress Act was passed. We have only added some more teeth into it.
Mr. Chari,
additional factors
Mr. Chari, I want at this stage, I would like to, by the way, Mr. Kalappa, you see, once again, can I just say one thing? Today, what your basic argument is that poor Mr. Robert Vadra got a little bit of land and Mr. Adani got a lot of land. You're almost
he never got a little bit of land. He bought
on a lighter note. On a lighter note, if I may be permitted, if I may be permitted a lighter note, if I may be permitted a lighter note, and I'm not even saying today, there are some land which has been given, I think, to certain members of the Gandhi family in Himachal Pradesh also, which has been reported. I don't know which dispossessed farmer was removed there to make way for some house, I am told some members of the Gandhi family have in Himachal Pradesh. You may like to investigate that, Mr. Kalappa. But if you're trying to make Mr. Robert Vadra look like a dispossessed farmer, the attempt is not working. However, I would like to ask,
it might not work with you because, because you have a deep prejudice against them. That's a different matter.
I don't have any prejudices in my heart.
I stick to my stand. No, you have a prejudice because even on the last show, you kept on referring to his name and you think it's some kind of a fashion to make a reference to his name or to Mr. Rahul Gandhi's name. But that, I don't grant you that. Of course, if you're going to have fun mentioning... No, just now, I was watching it. I happen to be watching it.
Whose name did I take? Whose name did I take?
No, you took both the name of Mr. Robert Vadra and of Rahul Gandhi.
Yes, so
and but that's besides the point. Because you seem to,
Is it a crime?
No, that's okay. I have no problem. Like I said, I don't grudge you. I don't grudge you the pleasure of taking their names. You're welcome to take their names. But let's be a little fair with them. That's all I say.
It's not a pleasure. It's a fact which I'm putting before you. I want Devinder...
No, this is not
I want Devinder Gupta.
This is not a fact.
I want Devinder. There are two. Devinder Verma and Meghnad Desai. Devinder Sharma and Meghnad Desai. 1 minute. Devinder Sharma and Meghnad Desai. I want both of you to respond to the charges that you made. First, to Meghnad Desai. Meghnad Desai, I want you to respond to Devinder Sharma's charge that this is some kind of a World Bank sponsored conspiracy to move the demography of India from rural to urban and semi-urban. Please respond.
This is, first of all, this is nothing to do with the World Bank. This is part of economic theory for at least 100 years, if not 200 years. This is the way development has happened in every country that I know of. And the World Bank is just not finding anything new. And it's very easy to have emotive words like, oh, big business and small farmer. But the fact is, that unless we raise the productivity of workers across the economy, we will not eliminate poverty. And to do that, we have to build infrastructure, we have to...
So macroeconomics at whose expense?
Build housing, and then nothing to do with real estate. This is to do with productive investment.
Macroeconomics at whose expense?
And I think the BJP, at nobody's expense, because everybody is going to be better off. That is what happens. Everybody is better off because of development, and it's very. I'm very glad that the BJP has changed its mind. I congratulate the BJP on changing its mind between last parliament and this parliament. They have come to their senses. They have now developed the right development policy.
Devinder Sharma, your response to Meghnad Desai beginning the debate by saying this is blackmail, ignore it, don't give in to the blackmail.
I think what is more important is to see how to balance growth in this country. Let's be very clear that agriculture is being systematically killed over the last few decades. And they are doing it deliberately because as I said earlier, the World Bank and the big business wants to give a message that this is the only way to grow economically in a country, in any country for that matter. I think what is being tried in America is not a solution for India also. India is a different country, we have a different conditions, and we can make agriculture more profitable. Now let me tell you, you will be surprised that 60% population lives in the villages or in the rural areas or in agriculture, and only 2%, less than 2% of the annual budget goes to agriculture. You'll be surprised, Manrega has a higher budget than agriculture. Now, this has been happening over the years. Now, when you are not investing in agriculture, you think it is economically backwards, not performing. You are not wanting it to perform. You are ensuring that the prices that they get today under the MSP is also withdrawn. Minimum support price they want to withdraw, leave it to the vagaries or the tyranny of the markets. Now, that is what they are deliberately doing it. My question here, Arnab, is that 25 crore people in this country are agriculture landless workers. If we give them land, these people are also, startups. These people are also entrepreneurs. A farmer is also an entrepreneur. He will also develop, he will also show results if you give him the right kind of conditions. But you are giving the conditions only to the industry, and you think agriculture is something we should neglect and we should forget. In fact, agriculture has disappeared from the economic radar screen of the country. Now, that's a very sad situation. 60% population or 70% population is completely ignored, Arnab, and you will see this being talked about every other day. When we talk of budget also, we say it's going to be populism or reforms. What is reforms? You give them the concession. If you don't give anything to the industry, they call it policy paralysis. But you give them all kinds of doors, then they think it is growth, then it's dream budget. Now, let me tell you one thing, that in the last 10 years, we had 36 lakh crore going to the corporates by way of tax exemptions. Where are the jobs? They just created 1.5 crore jobs in the last 10 years. And then where are the exports? Where the industrial sector? The only sector which has performed very well in this country is agriculture. Year after year, we are having a harvest which is bumper. Now, why can't we strengthen that sector, ensure that the population shift takes place to the villages? Let's make them viable. Why do you want to move the population just because the Western economists told us we should follow that? Why? Why can't India have its own original thinking is my question. Why do we have to go by the same kind of Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge economists who come and tell us this is the right way? I think I'm completely flawed by this kind of approach that the country is faced with.
I have given these lectures myself, so you don't have to educate now on the necessity for improving agriculture. There has been a reckless urbanization in this country. Reckless, absolute reckless urbanization for the last 10 years. I don't understand what has happened in the last 10 years. You want me to answer for all that in these next 8 months. And give me time, at least give me time to study this issue. Number one. Number two, it is nobody's argument that agriculture should go. We want greater agriculture. But let me tell you, the arid zone, it is our idea that the arid zone also should be brought under agriculture. And moreover, most of the agriculture products suffer
because I have a simple point.
The agriculture product don't reach the market. Don't reach the market. So we need rural electrification.
What about
wait, Arnav, one minute.
Sir, 1 minute.
We need rural electrification. We need roads. We need transport, and we need also infrastructure for the farmers. Why does the farmer's son come to city Delhi or Mumbai today?
So here's a simple point. Let it be a belief in the young people of rural India that they want to become entrepreneurs, because Mr. Modi, wherever he used to go, used to say about entrepreneurship spirit. Let us begin by saying the first right on the land is that of the farmers. And if the farmer or anybody from his generation wants to become an entrepreneur, then there will be a self-help campaign, and all the Ministry of Industries and the Finance Ministry and the National Small Industries Corporation and everyone else will come together to finance an opportunity for entrepreneurship for the farmer who wants to become an entrepreneur. You will increase productivity, you will increase local employment. It's
Absolutely.
a good, why don't we
Not only that, I am telling you, we will go a step further. We will improve on what Atal Bihari Vajpayee government did. The golden quadrilateral, whereby every village will be linked. Every village, it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. We said, har gaon mein sadak, Gramin Sadak Yojana, the Gram Sadak Yojana was started by that. We never gave that name Atal Bihari Vajpayee Gram Sadak Yojana. We said Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana.
I must tell you, Arnab, this very
interesting thing. We will still do that.
Yes, Devinder,
we wanted the Congress government to do it. It did not do it.
Let me tell you this very interesting.
Devinder Sharma.
When the NDA came into power first time, I remember there was an exercise for some economists to find out, what should be the economic policy for the new NDA government, and I happened to be there. And at that time, we raised this question that 60% population or 60% are farmers. Why don't we allocate 60% budget for those farmers? And you will be surprised that actually the first time the NDA government did announce that they will give 60% budget for agriculture. In reality, they gave only 6%. Now it is 2%. Now, if we were to give 60% budget to the agriculture, let me tell you, India will bloom. India will bloom.
The argument could involve the farmer. No, the argument.
Can we get some numbers right?
Why are you the argument put by Devinder Sharma? The argument put by Devinder Sharma is you ignore the farmer, then you say he's non-productive, and then you want to take his land away. Meghnad Desai.
First of all, 60% of India are not farmers. They may live in rural areas, but they're not farmers. Okay, first of all. Secondly, Mr. Devinder Sharma was saying that agriculture was the growing thing, nothing else was. Agriculture in India has never grown higher than 3.5% to 4% per annum, ever. And manufacturing and services have grown much higher. So the real growth of India comes from services and manufacturing. And that is what has doubled and quadrupled per capita income. So don't suddenly get sentimental about land and farmers.
Sentimental?
And so yes, okay. Agriculture should be there. Agriculture should be there, but it should be highly efficient, employing not as many people as it does now, and create full-time factory jobs for the people who are currently on Manrega and things like that.
Yeah, but I think Brajesh Kalapa, last word. If you want to respond to Meghnad Desai, please.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Arnab, that Lord Desai has a point, and that's right, but these things don't happen overnight. And this gradual process is going to kill a number of people. So we have to be sensitive to those people who are going to be affected. Of course, I do concede that we have to change the paradigm, that number of people who are involved with agriculture should come down, and those people who go to the secondary and tertiary sector should go up. But this process can't happen overnight, one. And two, the number of industries who have lands far beyond their necessity. This should first be established. This should first be investigated. And then it should be found out how many of these industries have land far more than what they have. And that should be confiscated before actually going
So what we are suggesting,
more land.
What we are suggesting tonight, I'm short of time. I'm short of time.
One more point.
I'm short of time.
We will do that.
I'm short of time. What we are suggesting tonight, what we are suggesting tonight is a serious discussion. What we are suggesting tonight is a serious discussion. Unfortunately, what we are seeing in Parliament is your position and my position. I would like the spirit of consensus to be built up, but that will mean, Mr. Chari, that you if required, keep this bill in abeyance for a while, go into a serious consultative process, give up all egos. If you've taken so long, take 1 more month, 2 more months, and come back with a better bill that does not compromise the farmers' interest. You seem open tonight.
We are prepared for it.
And one thing more, Arnav, it is not 4 times what the farmer gets, it's only 2 times the farmer gets.
Okay, I'm wrapping this up. I want to thank...
What is important is we are ready to build a consensus as far as the other parties are concerned.
I like that, Mr. I think people like that tone. I thank you very much. We've begun the discussion. I thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on debate number 2.